So tell me the whole story of, Elaine got you to, how did the whole thing come to be? Or, well, let's step back first. Let's talk about your historical and your training, bringing you into Lansing. We'll start with that historical perspective and work our way forward. So let's talk about Tucson. Let's talk about you're going to AIPX. What is AIPX?
That's Art Institute of Phoenix. Now
Okay.
it was a culinary school. This is many moons ago, back in 1998. It was a culinary program. They had some chefs that were actually from Lake Cordon Bleu, and they started the culinary program. I think, the third class to graduate from that institute, and that's why I was able to get my segue to a externship out in Paris. And I completed some of their certifications out there and came back and wanted to be round out my knowledge of the whole industry. Went to Northern Arizona University for hotel restaurant management. And that's when reality kind of hit me a little bit. I was able to continue my education. And once I got out and had a lot of college loans, I needed to start making money. And that's where I went to Las Vegas. You go to the Mecca, right? I was a single man, and Vegas was known for the hospitality industry. So I went out there. So I kind of just went right up the road from Flagstaff, Arizona.
How do you get to this point? Because I've never had a professional chef on before, a restaurant owner like yourself. So this is going to be very interesting because you basically are a non-traditional student, pretty much. I mean, you went in the trades. Starting in 1998, you were early in the game of the culinary kind of wave, right? I mean, that was pretty early
I
in the game.
tell you, I actually started before that. My first job, I was a busser. It's a quick little story. I was at the Viscount Suites in Tucson. I went into a closed restaurant and I was just amazed at what I saw, all the linen looking nice and tight. And I'm 14 years old and I'm walking around this restaurant that is empty. And the general manager came up to me. He's like, "Hey, can I help you?" And I go in and I'm talking to him while I'm looking around. I go into the kitchen and I say, "No, I'm just amazed at all this stuff what is this? What is that?" And I started asking him questions. And my mom was doing a conference at that hotel, and then she went looking for me, and she's apologized, like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean him to get in the way." He's like, "No, he didn't get in the way. He was actually asking some very good questions." And make a long story short, he said, "When you turn 15, because at that time you had to be 15, come back and we'll get you a job." And I came back and I became a busser, and I was able to see classically serving food at a young age. Then I went to a place called Brugger's Bagels. And what was interesting about that place is that it was, fast serve bagels and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the owner turned me into a manager. So it was a great, great experience.
Let's talk about the branding of the restaurant first. We're going to get to the hospitality stuff here because they kind of go dovetail together, right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
a hospitality guy. You've been in the industry since you were 15 years old. And by the way, congrats on working as a teenager because that's what it's all about. If you learn how to work when you're 14 or 15 years old and you're asking questions, dude, you're on your way. I mean, I've seen it so many times, and I think COVID screwed up our young people for a minute, but you got to work when you're a teenager. It really, really does help. But let's talk about the branding of the Airport Tavern and Steakhouse before we get into hospitality. What's your thought process behind all this? Go ahead.
Well, again, I go by ATS, and
Okay.
that's kind of letting people know that the Airport Tavern and Heart is still there, but it's moving to a new level. It's being brought to 2025. I mean, when you have many, many years of legacy and history, sometimes you can get caught in the past. And it's an homage to the past as well as letting people know we're moving in the future, right? So the ATS technically has three meanings. One is Airport Tavern and Steakhouse, ATS. The other one is Art of the Steak. We're a steakhouse and we're trying new things. We're getting cuts of beef that will be growing in terms of stuff you will not see in Lansing. So I really want to focus on the steak aspect. And the third one kind of is just an homage to the area. I mean, when you're someone that is on the outside looking in when it comes to Lansing and Detroit and Michigan, you understand this is the car industry, right? And my personal favorite Cadillac of the new regime is the ATS, and I think I am the Cadillac of restaurants.
What is hospitality at its core?
That is just engaging and connecting with people, in my opinion. I think the hospitality industry, being that I've been in it for as long as I have, it took a turn because in society, people have a lot of pressure themselves. And generally, they go out to have a good time, but also it turned to a dark place where people demanded and wanted to snap their fingers, and they lost a lot of respect for the servers and the people that do actually do hospitality. So when I saw that, I wanted to say, well, why is people disrespecting servers and disrespecting the industry? Like we're there to cater to them. And I started realizing they are screaming for a connection. You want to give them a good time because, in general, you go out to have a good time. That's why I'm in the industry. I talked with my wife, and she's in the medical industry, and I tell her, like, hey, people don't come to you unless they have a problem. When they come to me, they're looking to have a good time. So, how do they have a good time? And I think engaging with people, anticipating their needs, and making them laugh. Those are three essentials that you need to do with hospitality. Giving the smile is this segue to connecting and having a great experience because it's about the experience. The food is the segue, the service is a big part, but it's the experience.
Where did you learn the hospitality service? How did that seep into you? And how do we get people to, like a Michelle on your staff, Marcus? How do we train people and young people to bring them in and teach them the hospitality industry? Because it's very, very important. And these types of skills that you can teach are transferable to many other professions.
Yes, and I tell you, one thing about true hospitality at its core, it's innate as well. It's a natural thing. When you care about people and small little things like holding the door open or helping somebody do something, that's hospitality. And in my format in the restaurant, it is one of those things where anticipating their needs is just something people think is great. They love that. And you can teach that, but there's a teach of there's a part of element that you can't teach, and that's really caring for the next human being. And that's where you're able to show that through our service of the restaurant industry.
So talk about the restaurant because we go to our certain spots like ATS, and it's like I'm good.
Yes.
What's happening in the restaurant industry?
I mean, I tell you, especially from the fast food aspect, you're paying as much when you get in a restaurant. And when you're in a restaurant, you have someone that's there to take care of you. And I've ran the gambit in terms of entry-level restaurants, fast food, fast casual, all the way up to a world-renowned restaurants like Delmonico's at the Venetian. And what I will tell you when it comes to hospitality and when it comes to pricing in the restaurant industry is that you never know what the guest is dealing with. Short little story at one of my restaurants, this couple would come in and order a $5 appetizer once a week. And all the staff knew who they were. And from the staff aspect, it's like, oh, they're only ordering a $5 appetizer. They're getting waters. We're not going to get a tip. That's where their mentality came from. But I, as a manager, wanted to make sure they were enjoying everything. And long story short, they had lost their house and they had lost all their savings because of medical that they were giving to their child that got into a bad accident. And coming to Bonefish Grill was their way to get away from it. And that story changed my life because you can't judge people based off their money. Everybody deserves a great experience, and the tip or the cash that the restaurant makes is a byproduct. And if you have that mentality of taking care of everybody, you'll see that when you take care of your people, the rest takes care of itself. The profit becomes a byproduct. Running the restaurant, having to deal with the employees, caring and having pride, that all comes with it when you take care of your guests and you take care of your staff.
Start that thread on that whole Las Vegas experience. That had to be something. You were there for a long time.
I was, and it was a beautiful thing when you have people that are coming in with that energy of going to Las Vegas, right? But I also learned that you can have some high demands. And when I say high demands, sometimes you fall short of that. And I also learned when it comes to hospitality that it's not personal. So meaning if you had a horrible experience, it's about us learning and growing from it and making it right for you. And I have learned over time that you want to be perfect, but when you fall short, you hold yourself accountable and you make it right for the guest at the end of the day. And that is one thing that I love about hospitality, because hospitality doesn't mean perfection. It means the act and the will and the want to have a great time and give them a great experience. And some of my greatest regulars came from the most horrific experiences, because it's not so much what happens, it's how you handle it. It's how you deal with it. And that is something I hold true to. So people have had bad experiences, and I'm not going to say they won't in the future, but when they see how I handle and deal with that, they're going to understand this man really does care and is genuine.
How would you like people to connect with you? Where's the restaurant located? Phone numbers? Go ahead, take your time.
So it's off 5000 North Grand River, Lansing, Michigan, 48906. And you can contact me or my general manager, Nicholas Kidd, at 517-321-3852. And that's our phone number. You can book reservations. Any questions you have, we got some new things that we're rolling out. We're going to be doing a brunch. Our patio is going to be opening up. We're going to do a Sunday prime rib. Okay. So we have some new things we're going to be rolling out. And like I said, this is a growth process. I don't like throwing something new at somebody just to get them something new. I want to make sure there's quality in our staff and everybody's prepared for it. So these things may take a little longer than expected, just like our opening. But once we're there, you're going to realize, and the guests are going to realize why it took to this point to get there. So.
Let's talk about let's continue the thread with the Las Vegas industry experience that you had, Marcus, because you were there from 2002 to 2015. As I think about this, that's about the time I was out in California. I moved out there in like 99.
2025. That's I was out there to 2025.
Oh, 25. Okay, so
Yeah.
I wrote that down wrong. So 2002 to 25. So you were there a long, long time, but
Yeah.
you saw the change of Vegas because in the early 2000s, you had all of the 10 cent, meals, you had the
Yes.
buffets, you come in there for $1, and now things have changed a lot.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, it's a first of all, it's a state with no state tax, so there's not money being accumulated by the community to keep things up. So it's very privately owned and ran. I remember when I first got to Vegas, you had to apply at each individual restaurant, each individual hotel. They were all their own separate businesses. And applying nowadays, you can go to 4 websites and literally apply for 90% of the strip. So a lot of
Would you
conglomeration.
excuse me, Marcus, but would you encourage young people or people that are in transition? Because I talk about refinement all the time. Maybe people are thinking about going into the hospitality industry, and you being a pro, being in it for so long, would you encourage people to go to those 4 websites and possibly look for work out there?
Yes, I have no, like I said, you have to shoot as many shots as you can to where you can land. And I would never discourage someone for not applying somewhere. Because I feel when you apply, to the more places you apply for, the more control you have. Okay, so you might get offered 3 out of the 20 jobs, but now you have a choice of three versus applying to one job and only getting one. So I think I encourage people all the time to make sure you're still in control of your destiny. And yes, please apply to those websites to keep your options open, you know.
What else have you seen from that change from 2002 to 2025 in the restaurant hospitality industry that you're utilizing now at ATS Airport Tavern and Steakhouse in Lansing? What are some of the new trends?
Well, on a food level, you're seeing a lot more like hot chicken. You're seeing different, not your typical sauces. Heat in terms of spice is definitely a big thing right now. So you get to see a lot of those kind of niche things that come and go. As an industry as a whole, I think that, and this is generationally, and this is actually a societal thing too. I think service and what great service was really defined back in the day versus now. Some people think great service is never having their server talk to them. Some people think great service is leaving me alone. And everybody has their own opinion, but I think it was more defined what great service was in the past versus nowadays, because everybody has their own opinion, which is great, but it kind of blurs the lines and it makes you have to reach and engage in each individual, which is a good thing, to find out what their interpretation of great service is.
Talk about the new changes on the menu.
Well, it's definitely something that's going to be a little bit challenging because all the Sunday and Saturday brunch and the Sunday prime rib, those are all hours that we are not open currently and haven't been open currently for quite a few years. So people don't know we're open on Sundays. We've not been open on Sunday mornings. We haven't been open on Saturday mornings. Or so that is the challenge within itself. We have new restaurant hours that this is going to be implemented on. So the marketing is going to be a change and the staffing, because quite frankly, we're only open for 5 days, 4 lunches, 5 dinners right now. And now we're about to add 2 brunches, which is equivalent to lunch, and we're adding another dinner. So for staffing, you're going to need new staffing and more staffing to make sure we can execute that right for the guests.
Love featuring entrepreneurs, risk takers. Takes a ton of effort. It's so challenging to pull this off as an entrepreneur. Let me tell you, you're always wondering if there's anybody out there that gives a crap about what you're doing, but they are. They are out there. If you have a dream, go for it. Just like Marcus Powers is doing. That was great. Hospitality 101. ATS, Airport Tavern and Steakhouse, Art of the Steak, and the ATS Cadillac. Like the branding. It's really good stuff. Again, thank you everybody for what you do, listening, subscribing, and again to Marcus Powers for what he did coming on. Really, really good stuff. And we gotta help our small business, you guys. Support small businesses by going out and buying their stuff because they're there to help us. Until next time, I'm Papa Tom. Peace out, everybody. Love y'all. Go green.